So, unfortunately, we lost our last recording here. So I'm
Potent
back
heat!
just inside the city walls, and what we did basically was we went to Arhu and Aureus, who told us to go speak to the mortician about the sheep, or rather the missing body. We also did some inventory management, bought a magnifying glass, and identified a bunch of stuff, among which was a new hatchet for our tank here, and a new robe for our mage. Yeah, that's about it. Right, let's go speak to the mortician then.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or have those infernal statues sent another soul flying to his death? A sheep? That's a whole heap of nonsense. Don't bother me with such wild tales.
I've heard that you're a good man. Now's your chance to help your community. Come clean, and whoever's responsible for taking the body could be brought to justice. Oh, come on.
I suppose you're right. A corpse is one thing, but I couldn't stand to have the disappearance of a living soul on my conscience. Come, I'll tell you the whole story. I buried that blasted sheep, but I swear on my lucky left foot I had nothing to do with that body disappearing. 1 minute it was on my slab, you see. I left the room for just a moment to answer the bell in the front parlour, and when I returned, the body was simply gone. In its place was a sack containing more gold coins than I could even count. The message was clear. Silence is golden. My business has been declining right alongside the rest of our blighted city, and that sack of gold was worth more than I made during one of the good years. I needed cash, and someone needed my silence. I knew I had to bury something or risk being found out. So that night, I stole into the market and made off with Bertia's fattest sheep. It was a bloody waste to stick so much fine meat into the ground to rot, but it had to be done. The next day, the pallbearers retrieved Jake's coffin, sealed to hide the body's terrible wounds, none the wiser that within the casket lay nothing more venerable than a slaughtered beast. Now, you can imagine I've spent more than my share of restless nights wondering who could have wanted that cadaver and for what purpose. I'm not an inch closer to imagining the why, but I've got a few inklings as to the who. Near as I can reckon, there are only 4 people who could have been involved. Mayor Cecil, Captain Aureus, Theleron's apprentice Evelyn, and Esmeralda.
So we haven't talked to Cecil at all yet, right? Maybe we should do that pretty soon. Also, as I've said earlier, before the power cut out, if he got so much money for not talking about the body's disappearance, why don't you just go to Bertia or Bertia or whatever and buy a sheep? I don't know. Why do you suspect me, assassin?
Plenty of us shopkeepers entrust the mayor with the spare keys to our businesses, you know. And he's the only person in town with a second copy of the key to the mortuary. He could have used it to sidle in without a peep, if he were so inclined. Aureus himself paid me a visit the night the body was delivered. Came rapping at my door in the frosty morning before the sun had even started peeping, and told me to tell him, and only him, if I noticed anything strange or suspicious about the remains. Can't see why he'd bothered to go through all that trouble, unless he knew something the rest of us don't. I know it sounds strange suspecting the doctor's apprentice of something so ghoulish as this, but there's few in this city could manage to transport a corpse without raising eyebrows. It was she who delivered Jake's body from the inn to the mortuary. And there was something about her that night. Some kind of excitement.
They did talk about a cloaked woman coming to the inn or something, right? Just before he was murdered.
Seemed she could barely contain her thoughts. That there was something thrilling about to happen. I can't quite settle it in my mind how a young medical professional would have such a strange reaction to an occasion such as that.
Well, I mean, maybe sometimes medical professionals, I mean, they have this kind of thing where they're kind of excited about medical procedures, or maybe even like autopsies or whatever, just because they're like in a macabre way into that. I don't know.
And this may or may not have anything to do with the whole rigmarole. But her master, Dr. Theleron, bought an old shack of mine, one overtaken by undead, for an exorbitant price considering what he was getting. I never did figure what he wanted it for, but he sure seemed eager.
Rigmarole.
I never saw a widow less distraught at the death of her husband, and I've seen hundreds pass through my parlour. It was she who rang my bell just before the body was snatched. Lured me outside, claiming she needed air, before discussing the funeral arrangements.
Is that so?
Some accomplice could have sneaked in and grabbed the remains while I was comforting the oh-so-overcome Esmeralda.
Well, that sounds very suspicious. About the beggar gold you received for keeping quiet about Jake's body.
That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair, and I certainly plan on making some use of it.
Unless you'd like to involve the Legion in the matter, I suggest you hand over the gold immediately. Surely Bertia, whose sheep you stole, deserved this money more than anyone. Hand over the gold so it can make its way to its rightful owner. Oh. I mean, we're best with charm, I suppose. I mean, it'd be funny if we had just, like, hand over this blood money before it stains your reputation, and then we just keep it.
Well, with all the troubles plaguing Cecil, I suppose us natives ought to put our finest feet forward.
Uh-huh.
Here, take the gold, and give it to someone who actually deserves it.
Like myself? How many gold do we get? Didn't say, right?
So, what's the bad news? More orcs? Sad story, that. Though if I'm speaking plainly, the sentimental aspect of it all doesn't make much of an impression on an undertaker. Especially not these days, with so many laid low by the orcs and such like. I just concern myself with giving the remains a respectable exit from life. We set him to rest in the northern graveyard.
No, you didn't.
Perhaps he can finally get a little peace. Like I said, I'm sure as sin not the ghoul responsible for snatching that body. Far as I can reckon, your most likely suspects are Mayor Cecil, Captain Aureus, the Doctor's apprentice Evelyn, and Esmeralda.
Again, I suppose.
I never imagined myself thanking some strangers for taking my money. But in the end, I reckon you were right. I couldn't well enjoy something with such a dark cloud hanging over it.
Yeah, I guess we'll give it to Bertia though, right? As a recompense for her sheep. Maybe we get like a... I mean, it's not that much. It's like a maximum of like 200 gold or something, right? Could give it to Bertia and then see if we get a reputation bonus for that or something. Also,
the closest I've come to
I feel kind of bad that
Melora
Medora is naked now. We take care of that real quick.
Saffrons, I dare say.
Give her her armor back, because now we have better gear. So I'm not convinced of the rogue yet. Medora was a pretty strong addition to the party. So, who has her armor? That would be Ganache and I'd have to tell...
Whatever happened to that troop of eager imbeciles we sent to the northern cave?
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
You call to Walgraf. Walgraf gives a curt, disgruntled nod, and with a gesture that suggests the drinking out of a mug of ale, he seems to indicate he'll be at the King Crab Inn, should you check.
Okay.
Dance and dugong. Onward, sword to sword.
Okay, and goodbye.
Careful, comrade. I think I... But what'll you...
You call to Walgraf. He awaits you. A wide smile showing...
Wait, what?
Fortune? Ha!
Did you just get 820 XP for nothing? What?
Great!
They say he's privy to ancient and arcane secrets, the
Or
likes
did
of
he
which I
leave-
doubt you
like,
could even
it doesn't
fathom,
have any
old
consequences if
friend.
we just banish people from our party, right? Wait a second. So he's 4,000 away from the level. Let's load an earlier save. Like...
Come now, Alistair.
this one?
Surely you're...
Because I don't want to, like, I don't know if I'm losing, like, any XP or something by kicking them out of the party.
Get it while it's fresh.
Right.
This batch is only ours.
4,800. So actually we gained 800 XP from that? That's kind of weird. Okay, yeah, whatever. Maybe that's like a glitch I could have used, but... I'm not gonna. Right, so... Also, she doesn't really need to wear
Come
the
now,
sarong, right?
Alistair.
That doesn't do anything
Surely you've met your
stats-wise.
match once or twice.
Nothing looks-wise as well.
The closest I've come to my
What about
match is
her,
when I
actually?
linger over long while lighting my pipe.
Oh, careful now. Your head's grown more swollen than saffrons, I dare say.
That looks kind of crappy, right? Oh, man, I
I
can't
am
get
on the
over.
trail, source hunter.
I can't get over that ugly shield. Wait, she's not. Okay, it's just very tight armor. I thought like she's not walking around with a bare butt, right? Do I like this look more, or do I like?
Whatever happened to that troop
This
of
look more.
eager imbeciles we sent to the northern cave?
Do
Oh,
I
God.
seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward money won't be lining your pockets.
Hot topics in Pyramid How-To. You can travel from one pyramid to the other. Delightful. Connected parties will follow whoever has initiated travel. You can use the pyramids while holding them, or you can place or throw them on the ground and interact with them. In order to pick up a pyramid once more, you must drag it from wherever it rests. Right, actually, we still got to do that, the pyramid thing. We do that now? Let's do
Tell
that now.
me, Alistair, have you ever had the fortune of challenge?
Oh my gods! What is going on here?
Ha!
First I have to shoo away a creeping white tomcat, and
Nice.
now there's a perfect stranger in my bathroom. Get out, will you?
Hey, Cecilia. Let's trade, shall we? I swear I'll murder the creature that sent me here. I'll tear him to shreds along with anyone else who witnessed this little prank. Sorry, milady. I came by way of a magical pyramid, and I don't know where I would end up. Ha! This is a curious mix-up, no? It'll be quite the story to tell tomorrow. What? She's got charm 7. Holy crap. Alright. I do want to win this, though. I mean, it's two wins for the both of us.
Oh my gods! What is going on here? First I have to shoo away a creeping
come on.
white tomcat, and now there's a perfect stranger in my bathroom. Get out, will you?
That's better. Nope.
Oh my gods! What is going on here?
Does she have
First I
less
have
of
to shoo
a...
away a creeping white tomcat, and now
bonus if
there's
I
a
choose
perfect
reason?
stranger in my bathroom. Get out, will you? Oh my gods! What is going on here? First I have to shoo away a creeping white tomcat, and now there's a perfect stranger in my
Exactly
bathroom.
the same.
Get out, will you?
Alright, that's better.
Oh, these are strange times for magic, aren't they? Source in Cecil, so they say.
Oh, it's a horror.
But I'm glad you source hunters are here to help us. Be on your way then.
Teleporter pyramids. How to? Using a pyramid teleporter
Out! No!
If she
you
soaks
please.
in flower stink
to the other
much
pyramid.
longer,
Give them
dear
to your
right
party
hours
members
lady
and
from
drop
a
them on the
field
ground.
away.
I'll save a
On
leg of
locations you
something
want to
good for
return
when
to
she begins
instantly.
to starve.
Throw them around
Woolgraf
to
gently
bypass
stops the
traps.
shepard
Just
on towards the door.
stand there.
He may be an accomplished
Go.
thief, but he's plainly
Away
at his
with you.
element as a peeping Tom.
Can I talk to her again? He's gonna attack eventually, I suppose, huh?
What are you still doing here? Begone!
Oh, that's right. I need to like drag it into the inventory. That's what it said, right?
Out! No!
Striking it
if
rich.
you please.
Yes, yes. Okay. So let's give that to her, I suppose. It's a good idea to like solve riddles and get around traps, I suppose. I might even want to assign them. Oh, this could also be useful in combat. I'll deal with the repercussions of that later, though. So we solved that. Where exactly did that put us? Town hall bathroom. I mean, I could also... I haven't been in the town hall yet, have I? Probably talk to Mayor Cecil. Well, where's this lead? Can I go inside?
Red and
No, I can
orange,
just
yellow
throw
and
stuff down the well.
green, the finest veggies, size
What
A
is-
source hunter will always receive a warm welcome at the town hall of Cecil. I'm sure Mayor Cecil is looking forward to making your acquaintance.
I'm sure he is.
Well, Mayor Cecil will be happy to see the likes of a source hunter.
Attitude minus 35.
Welcome to the town hall of Cecil.
Because she's both stinky and annoyed all now. She's much more charismatic. Even though her shield is freaking ugly. Talk to the cat.
Meow.
I love how all the animals in this game are just like voiced by human voice actors.
What? Oh, it's you. Come closer then. Closer? My ears aren't what they used to be. Nor my eyes, for that matter. Yes, hello, Source Hunter. Our city welcomes you. My elf? What elf? Oh, myself. I am Cecil, Mayor of Cecil, and
you should
husband
have
of the
a
stately
rope
Cecilia.
topping.
I've been the mayor here for decades, and I'm quite eager to see Cecil through these difficult times. Yes, very difficult times indeed.
I met your pet.
Maxine? What in heaven's name are you? Oh, you mean the mongrel that's always skulking about the place. I spent months trying to teach that worthless hound how to fetch, and it
Hound?
sat through every lesson looking at me as if I were an idiot. Man's best friend, my eye.
I don't think Maxine's an owl.
I've always been more fond of cats myself.
Alright. Alright, dude.
That depends. What kind of berries are you interested in, exactly? Ah, the library. Yes, yes, you must have a visit. It's the gem of Cecil. Would you like to have a look? I'll escort you upstairs myself.
I have this one philosopher that wants to, like, engage in duel of wits or whatever, but I need to read his works first. Sure.
Marvelous. Follow me, then.
Walgraf gives you a knowing look. He seems to think the mayor is a few arrows short of a quiver.
I hope there are no large predators around, or the mayor may find himself easily hunted.
What? Oh, yes. This library is the jewel in Cecil's crown. The beacon of culture and learning in our fair city.
The Encyclopedia Daemonium. I know it by
My
heart.
Victoria has every volume you could possibly imagine, and she's got every speck of information about this place packed into her brilliant brain. Yes, Victoria's come a long way from that little bundle of claws and teeth I adopted so long ago. Ah, it brings a tear to my eye just seeing her here among her beloved books. What? Oh, yes, yes. I'll be on my way back downstairs now. Please introduce yourself. I know Victoria will be happy to make your acquaintance.
Victoria? Is that
Key of
the librarian?
Salacandras. Ugh, what nonsense. The Pseudo-Monarchia Daemonium.
Jahan?
And the first edition, too. Most promising.
A source hunter! Oh, what a sight for sore Sicilian eyes!
They like to do alliterations with the
No,
Sicilian,
this
right?
isn't the grimoire I'm
His
looking
Morello
for.
does have a propensity
Is there no
for all
new
things
book to be
naughty,
discovered in
hasn't
this
she?
library?
Me? I live alone here in town. Used to be that my younger brother Tom and I were practically joined at the hip, but that's all changed now. Oh, he's always been something of a rascal, calling his petty hooliganism adventuring and endlessly worrying my poor mind. Oh, but of course, I've always loved that scamp to bits. For my part, I encouraged him to join the Legion. Even got him sparring with Captain Aureus now and then. But then those blasted Fabulous Five came into town.
Blasted Fabulous Five.
That band of... I don't even know what to call them. Well, they're his heroes, and I simply couldn't prevent him from going to see them. That one meeting was all it took for Tom to run off with them on some mission to God knows where. Novels?
Do we get a quest for that?
Mayhem.
Demonology.
Hello again, adventurer. I hope...
Omnes autem mali daemonis quam.
That's some kind of Latin. Oh, I bet he's a potential squad mate, right?
What? What is this? Who are you to interrupt my musings? By Naga the Protector, they have the manners of boors, these boatmen of Cecil. Oh, but perhaps I spoke too soon. Perhaps I was mistaken, for you hardly resemble the local fisherfolk, which, incidentally, is a compliment of copious dimensions indeed.
They have a bit of a hard-on for alliterations in this game, right? The writers.
Sometimes I think these books sprout little legs in the night.
No. A source hunter, that is what you are. Yes, a stalker of sorcery, a chaser of charms pernicious. In truth, I cannot go so far as to say it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, for I take no pleasure in the company of man. But it may just be to our mutual advantage to join forces nonetheless. I would tell you my reasons, but it seems rather pointless to do so, seeing that quite clearly there is no room left in your band of adventurers for an additional champion. A pity, really.
Oh man, too many choices here.
A brief history of
I mean,
sorcery
apparently,
still hasn't
like,
been
obviously, I
returned.
mean, my
Folderol will have to pay yet another fine.
one character is a mage already, so having a second one might be overkill. Then again, 2 mages, that could be a lot of damage.
Volume 1, Volume 2. But where has the third one gone?
Could leave out the ranger, I
Sharp soul.
suppose.
Sometimes I think these
Oh, I
books
don't know.
sprout little legs in the night.
An orc?
In the name of Amun-Hor, I bid thee Tujda Geta Hal. Be welcome, human.
Orc
My
librarian.
library is yours, as I hope your friendship is mine.
What she got?
And the first edition too. Most promising.
Forgotten Language of Fairy, that's expensive. Live to the touch, the book is at once warm then cold. Sometimes it seems to reek of burnt paper. At others, the faintest scent of orange blossoms.
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more advanced. The Encyclopedia Daemonium. I know it by heart.
I am Victoria, daughter of Mayor Cecil. Oh, I know what you're thinking. The likeness isn't exactly striking, is it? When I was very young, you see, I must have been cast out by my tribe, for I was found in a wicker basket floating past Cecil toward the sea. The fisherman who found me would have drowned me on the spot, for I am an orc after all. But praise be Amun-Hor, dear Cecil was among the gathered crowd, and he took pity on the exiled infant that chance had put in his way.
Wicker basket, put into a river, that's...
The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum.
He raised me like I was his own, this kindest of souls. Taught me the language of men, their customs and their letters. Thus, I became the city's librarian, a position I uphold with no small diligence and pride. Indeed you may. The wisdom I here hoard is yours to peruse and even take with you. All I can ask is that you return the books you borrow, so that others may enjoy them too.
I like the voice actress.
The Lesser Key of Sadakandras. Ugh, what nonsense.
So what'd she say? I can take him, but I should
The
return him?
Encyclopedia Daemonium. I know it by heart.
I mean, let's read a bit, shall we?
Esmeralda
okay with
does
that?
have a propensity for all
So,
things naughty,
Cecil's
hasn't
Genesis.
I've got my
The
eyes on the
Lesser
prize.
Key of Sadakandras. Ugh, what
Adventurous
nonsense.
Field Guide.
The
I'll leave a skull.
Pseudomonarchia Daemonum.
Use Melted,
First
Volume
edition
1.
too.
The History.
Most she?
Painting of a Man. No, I can't take that.
Kajdanor. A brief history of sorcery still hasn't been returned. Teleron will have to pay yet another fine.
Oh, I can't take Rat Extermination, though.
Demonology for dumbbells.
Philosophy
Ugh.
of Death.
I need
That's the
something
one
more
I'm
advanced.
supposed to debate that one
The
guy about. Right?
Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition too. Most promising.
Cracking what? Cracking
Volume
up
1,
a crowd.
Volume 2.
The
Where's the
Definitive Guide.
third one
Pirate's
gone?
Life.
I've got my eyes on the prize.
Demonology
Fun
Sometimes I
with
think these books sprout little legs in the
Ugh.
night.
I need
With
something
flags.
more advanced. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition too.
Keep saying the
Most
same
Knight in
promising.
see-through armor. Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom. Stentiken. Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she?
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more advanced. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition too. Most promising.
Sure, I'll take
Volume
that.
1, Volume 2. But where has the third one gone? Shatsu.
Demonology
Sometimes
for
I think these
dumbbells.
books sprout little legs in the night.
I need something
No,
more
I
advanced.
just took them all.
The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum.
Probably
The
shouldn't read
first
here. I've
edition
got to go
too.
mad with his ramblings. Alright. What do we have? So, blank air scroll. Cleansing water scroll. He who smelts it. The quality of a proper sword has quite declined in recent decades. Some blame a change in climate, others a change in the type and origin of iron reserves. I myself craft my own supplies from an iron bar and an anvil to ensure the maximum character of the weapon. It would be neat if they told us which books we've already read. I'll just put him into his inventory for now. Philosophy of Death. Cracking up a crowd. Battered around the edges, this book bears the telltale signs of having been much beloved by the less than responsible set. Much like making love, comedy requires equal parts passion and delivery. Fever for the stage is not enough. Oh no, the truly successful comedian will study the details of the craft through countless long, lonely nights in preparation for his rendezvous with the audience. Compiled within this volume are some of Riverland's finest funnies, enough to make a granite statue grin. During a dwarven funeral, the bearers of the casket accidentally bump into a wall and hear a faint moan. They open the casket and find out that the dwarven woman inside is actually alive. The entire funeral party rejoices, and a joyful tear springs into her husband's eye. The dwarven lady lives for 10 more years and then dies. There is another funeral for her. At the end of the service, the bearers carry out the casket. As they're walking out, the husband cries, "Watch out for the wall!" Was that funny? I don't know. Maybe it was my delivery. I don't know. An elf and an orc show up in Hall of Echoes at the same time. The orc says he froze to death, and the elf says he died of a heart attack. How did that happen? Asked the orc. The elf replied, "Well, I came home and I thought I heard my wife in bed with someone else, but when I searched the house, I couldn't find anybody. I was so stricken with remorse for wrongly accusing my wife of infidelity, I had a heart attack and died on the spot." "Geez," says the orc, "if you'd opened the icebox, we'd both be alive right now." The icebox? Right. So the orc was sleeping with his wife and hid in the icebox. Alright. Every 10 years, the elven wood priests in the high monastery are allowed to break their vow of silence to speak 2 words. 10 years go by, and it's one priest's first chance. He thinks for a second before saying, "Food, bad." 10 years later, he says, "Bed, hard." It's the big day. A decade later, he gives the head priest a long stare and says, "I quit." "I'm not surprised," the elven high priest says. "You've been complaining ever since you got here." Right. A pirate's life. The book's tight binding belies its age. Bits of crumbling pages stick to your fingers as you turn each page. Pirate's life. Shipmate Fulkerson's diary. Whoever came up with the idea to go hunting for treasure in Cecil should be keelhauled. I cared not for diaries before we ended up in this accursed place. As I fear the end is nigh, I feel obliged to warn my fellow pirates, avoid Cecil. As sunny as its beaches are, as golden as the sun shines in its cobblestone roads, equally corrupt is this hellhole. There are laws for everything in Cecil, and every law contradicts the other. At the beginning we tried to work alongside the system for some time, better to ease down the local suspicion, you see. But I fear every trader that sets foot in Cecil must become a pirate or an outlaw, whether they realize it or not. There are taxes on docking a ship. There are taxes on owning a ship. There are taxes on docking without a ship. There are taxes on boarding and unboarding the ship, but one cannot unboard without having boarded in Cecil first, oi. What's that even mean? There are taxes on entering the tavern if you're not a Sicilian, and there's a law against entering the tavern if you ain't a Sicilian. Unaware, you enter, pay the tax, and then get thrown in jail when the locals realize your rank is set elsewhere. But that's not the worst part. We came here looking for treasure. There is a skull-shaped cave on the beach, and the captain is certain there's a pirate's bounty within. We have sent out a dozen of our best men a fortnight ago, but they've yet to return. The rumor amongst our men is that the cave is haunted. Hogwash. The rest of us will investigate tomorrow. If our crew has not returned, then it's goodbye, Cecil. Fun with Fluids, Volume 2. An introduction to the fun of fungi. If you've ever tried consuming a Guapinia mushroom, you know full well what manner of effect it'll have. Most Rivalonian mushrooms have some sort of effect on the human body, and their essence can be squeezed into potions to enhance their effects. Combining mushroom-based potions has similar effects. That's all. Fun with Fluids, Volume 6. An eye-opening explanation of the distillation of the infamous Drudenair herb. Drudenair's qualities are many and well documented. For an adventurer, it isn't wise to consume it in the thick of battle, though recreational use is widely accepted among liberal circles. Knowledge significantly less widely spread, however, is that Drudenair is best consumed from within a flask, as the bottling process often brings out its finest features. The history of Cecil. We also have, like, the beginning, Cecil's Genesis, a play. An old play once written by the court minstrel of Lord Diederik. Oh, there's also this one opportunity to stage a play in the city, right? This excerpt from the traditional drama Genesis of Cecil is commonly performed in the local theatre. Most Sicilians, and even a few foreigners, are simply or are amply familiar with the tale and refuse to tolerate deviations from the script most know by heart. The story goes that two adventurers, lovers too, Cyrus and Celia, sailed west from Ferrol, knowing not whether they would find land on the other side. They took with them sufficient provisions for 5 months of travel, but only during the last week of 6 months of the 6th month did they land upon the land they would come to call Cecil. Celia, enough, Cyrus. I can't take another moment aboard this death barge. I'm starving and I'm sick. We will find no safe refuge from our travails, will we? Cyrus, my gods, could it be? There, look. Celia, what is it? Are we fresh out of water? Is there a leak in the hull? Cyrus, look, Seal, there, beyond the mist. It is. Celia, land. Cyrus, land, my sweet, land at last, and we shall call it Cecil. The History of Cecil by D.R. Gallant. Though Cecil's borders have shrunk considerably in modern times, ours was once an expansive kingdom of economic and strategic importance in the region of Andervale. Unembroiled in external politics, Cecil was free to expand from the sea to sea and to the borders of Lucala Forest, where legendary and mysterious magicians are said to reside. Why then did Cecil fall? First, trade. As the old kingdoms grew, Cecil's ports became less central to trading routes. But most importantly, Cecil's history of a small and homogeneous population meant that its cultural importance faded as more diverse nations grew. Capitals that featured elvish musicians and dwarvish mead thrived, while Cecil's trade stagnated. Still, Cecil is a seat of significant cultural importance. Home to the last Source King, the catacombs of Cecil are famed for their beauty and their supposed preternatural activity. In recent times, the leaders of Cecil are seeking to reinvigorate their economy. Fertile farmlands are being utilized at full capacity by the incentivized sale of lands to experienced farmers. Cecil's nature, or future rather, shines bright indeed. So that's the history of Cecil. Yeah, let's read the adventurers' field guides as well. What does this say? The adventurer's field guide. Some smiths haven't the faintest idea how to mold a fine metal shield. After I buy one, my first order of business is to find the nearest anvil and hammer the kinks out of it. The shield, I mean, not the anvil. Since modification is all the rage these days, you may find a use for the slim volume on crafting the perfect shield for specific needs. 4. Charity begins at home. Apparently, so does the art of assassination, if this creepy how-to book is anything to go by. An old kitchen knife can be carved into a deadly dagger after the right amount of time on my anvil. I guess so. A lumberjack's manual detailing the too many ways you can reduce a tree to varying pieces of wood. Now, I'm not a lumberjack, but I can get a good strong stick out of any log with my trusty axe whenever I'm in need of one. Some weird geezers have been asking for the wood chips on the floor after I've chopped up some logs, and I just let them. I have no idea what to do with those. Wood chips. A canny little chapter about how to increase the resale value of your equipment. Ooh. Some merchants don't give a hoot about how strong or sturdy your weapon is. They'd buy a mail shirt with rings the size of bracelets, as long as it looked good. Whenever I'm about to sell some old and worn-down equipment, I'll simply stick a pearl on it, somewhere to entice the vain and simple-minded buyers. Yeah, how to get a pearl, though? Improved metal armor. Improved leather helmet. Improved a few other things, alright. Hand-bound and gilt-edged, whoever attended to this book's creation clearly believed quite wholly in its importance. The philosophy of death. Let us briefly discuss life and death, the great opposites, the great equals. Death is greater than life, so saith the priest, for in death comes the gods' just reward. But if this be true, whether that reward shall be the solace of heaven or the agony of hell, is decided during one's lifetime, and therefore life is much greater than death, for it is the decision-maker. And what are those who care not for the gods, who question the afterlife, the existence of deities? Life is life's own goal, they say, a wise sentiment I echo, and that even priests would do well to heed. But oh, how often does doubt assail these revelers of life? How often does fear approach with the creeping of the shadows? So great becomes the looming horror that death becomes larger than life, and death becomes the greater force. Forget the promise of gods, I say, but defy the fear of oblivion as well, for only if life and death become each other's equals can the philosophy of death become one of life. Death is the instigator of faith and fear, but only if you let it be so. If you can gaze into its obsidian eyes, knowing it is the be-all and the end-all, but fear neither, then you shall have reached the shores of wisdom. So saith Nemrus. Interesting. A couple of interesting things. Also, we haven't finished talking to Cecil yet.
What? Oh, hello again. Please tell me how I can help you during your investigations. I know your plate is full enough to fill you for days. That depends. Ah, the library. Please yourself. Let my dear girl, my darling adopted daughter, my pride and joy. I introduced her to my library when she was a girl. She quickly proved that the preconceptions we humans hold of orcs as savage beasts are patently false.
Patently, you mean?
If you're looking for something special, just ask. She knows every book by heart. Papa's smart little cookie. Oh yes, the Fabulous Five. Aren't they simply fantastic? I'm sure they'll get the job done in no time, especially with your expert hand lent to their cause. That machine Ahu built is an abomination. It must be stopped at all costs. Oh? I bet the wizard himself could provide some advice regarding how to destroy it. He's the mad scientist who crafted it after all. What? Oh, you mean Cecil. Very difficult times indeed. As though the death of Jacon by source magic no less weren't enough. We're also facing all sorts of brutish intruders. The undead have overrun all but one northern trade route, while the orcs are making a habit of savaging our beaches. That's not to mention that at the top of this whole caboodle, there's rumors of some new religious sect or cult or some such, sticking its tendrils into the innocent, seven-fearing folks of Cecil. And, while we're on the subject of troubles, I myself have a private matter I'd like to bring to your attention. It involves a magic relic I rather foolishly sought. A weapon called the Staff of Pergamon.
What's this about a Staff of Pergamon?
What of what now? Oh, you're speaking gibberish. Ah, you mean the Staff of Pergamon. Yes, yes. I was expecting a shipment of weapons, and among the cargo was this very powerful, very rare staff. I managed to place the order through means somewhat, atypical to a government official. Cecil proved an old fool, though, for the merchant slated to deliver it to me has just informed me that the damn thing has gone missing. I fear it may have fallen into the wrong hands, and I wonder if you could retrieve it for me. His name is Conrad, captain of the Tide Splitter, a merchant ship still docked at the Cecil harbor. You can talk to him if you think it'd help, but I'd quite like to avoid getting the Legion involved, if you don't mind.
What do you know about the staff itself?
The staff itself contains a shard of an ore, highly valued for its use in the weapons of war. I know use of the material to be forbidden, but I was desperate to do something to aid the townsfolk against the undead. What? The undead? Yes, for the past 2 years those blasted skeletons have all but suffocated this city. With all but one trade route overrun, Cecil's once torrential commerce has slowed to a pathetic trickle. Well, I do believe that's something your parents ought to have discussed with you long ago, Source Hunter. But I suppose if you really don't know, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least explain the basics. Ah, you see, when a lady and a fellow find each other rather nice, well, rather more than nice, they occasionally, well, they, Oh, this is nonsense. I'm the mayor for the 7th sake. I can't be bothered to chat all day about the birds and the bees when Cecil's under siege by orcs, undead, and cultists. Jake, murdered? Oh, yes. Yes, now I recall. Indeed. I could hardly believe it myself. The Councillor and I have certainly had our differences over the years, but old squabbles evaporate under such circumstances. Most of the townsfolk are certain Jake's wife Esmeralda is responsible. In fact, the Legion have taken her into protective custody to keep her safe from the mob. As you can imagine, I've known Esmeralda for years. That business between her and the Duke of Ferrol was always a bit, suggestive. But I've never had cause to suspect her of violence. Still, one never knows for sure. An all-right bloke, apart from all this Esmeralda nonsense. The whole town knows the only goal of his business trips to Cecil is to spend a night or two at the King Crab Inn with Mrs. Councillor. My elf? What? Oh, myself. I am Cecil, Mayor of Maxine. I spent months trying to teach that. I've always been more fond of cats myself. Jake? Murdered, you say? Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Now I remember. Well, I'm sure the facts will prove me innocent. Keep investigating. You'll see for yourselves in time.
Meow.
What? Oh, it's you.
T'was Jagetta, friend.
Terminology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more
All
advanced. Is there no new book to be...
So, a couple of things we can do now. I'll look at my log. Mysterious murder. We discovered that there are 4 possible people that might have taken Jake's body. Mayor Cecil, Captain Aureus, Farallon's apprentice Evelyn, and Esmeralda. Whoever the culprit is, he or she had better start shaking their boots. Go to the market. Because I want to give Bertia the money for her sheep. Bertia was here, right?
Spiritless? Perhaps wrestling an earth elemental will inject some vim
So, Santas, eh? All right, proper, we're finally getting a hand. Things is chaos. If you've got a favourite sheep, best to fry her up now before she gets thieved in the night like me dear plump Ogget, the finest in me herd.
Oops, sorry.
Join the stud club if you got an eye
About
for
your stolen
barber
sheep.
tape.
That louse! Did he even bother grilling a single luscious chop? I bet he wasted every last morsel. Captain
Attitude
Aureus
90.
will have a thing or two to say about this.
Sheep's cheese?
Um,
Tomatoes?
Watch the undead quiver in their mouldy boots.
300 XP, and she loves us. I'll do it. What's she doing?
Tall of snake.
Let's see what she's doing. Oh, she's very fast runner. She probably going to the mortician, right? I'm gonna see if I can catch a glimpse of their confrontation. Where'd she go
So,
then?
what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or, like I said, I'm sure as sin not the ghoul was plenty of a shot. He could have used it to sidle in without a peep. I never imagined myself thanking some strangers for taking my...
Alright. Okay, so secondly, what I want to do is debate this philosopher. Because I've read his book now. Where was he? Wait, where was he? At the graveyard? No. Oh, I think he was... Wait. He sat on a bench or something, right? Like here. Eglandaer, or was that someone else? Let's speak to him anyhow.
Oh, it goes to and fro the city's youth. Oh, how nice it is of you, the very picture of youth, to break the monotony of an elder's day, wild away on this hardwood bench. Pray, let me be forward with you, O sapling rose, O leaf of spring, for my weary mind is troubled, and would highly prize thy gentle-handed assistance, thy kind ministrations.
What?
I am but an aged elf that has seen the years parade in long succession. Gladly shall I tell you more. Will I regale thee, O whelp of men, with my tale? But not here, where the winds may steal my words. You would listen to my grievances, guide me towards untroubled realms. Oh, sure. You are truly a wonder, oh budding flower of the morn. Yet that which I would tell you is of a rather private nature. So let us escape both the chill and the eye of public scrutiny. Hot spiced wine and a snug little room awaits us on the king crab's first floor. Let us go there so that we can warm our bones, yet make shiver our hearts with a tale of loss and sorrow.
Sure, dude. We met an old elf, Eglandaer, who asked us to meet him in his room at the King Crab. He said he needed our help with something. Cecil's mighty staff. Cecil asked us to retrieve the staff of Pergamon, a powerful relic that was stolen from him. He suggested we ask Conrad, the merchant in charge of the ship in which the staff was stolen. Headless Nick. We found a play based on the founding of Cecil. Maybe we can put it to good use. We found a book listing some tried and true jokes.
Alistair,
maybe we can put it to good
have
use.
you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of
Tom the
Hunter's
wannabe
Edge?
adventurer.
Fortune?
Charlene, the Mayor Cecil's maid, said she was looking for a brother Tom, who left to become an adventurer, and she hasn't heard
They
from him
say he's privy
in
to
quite some time.
ancient and arcane secrets, the likes of which I doubt you could even fathom, old friend.
Who's Francis again?
Greetings, traveller. And may the Immaculate Conduit's myriad blessings comfort and cradle you. Tell me, have you yet heard the revelation? What's in a name, dear friend? For we all begin equal in the Conduit's eyes, and only through great deeds may enter into her inner ring.
Uh-huh. What revelation do you mean?
You mean you haven't heard? Oh, what fortune that I may share the goddess's salvation with one who has, as yet, been lost. Steel yourself, friend, for your mortal spirit could be forever transformed from this moment forth.
Oh, yeah?
The conduit, our link to the goddess herself, has given us a special gift, and the gift is thus. By following her instructions and becoming initiated into the one way, we can each of us live on for a span greater than the number of stars that twinkle within the goddess's right eye. She came from on high to we mortals and showed us the path to the goddess, where all living souls are naturally inclined. She showed us that injury and malady need not mark the end of life, but that through her methods we could ascend to greater life in service of the goddess.
What do you mean by the one way?
Ah, for this hallowed information, you must seek an immaculate chapel. Go north, friend, through the forest and into the town of Silverglen, where all may be revealed. There, among her followers and friends, dwells the goddess's ecstasy, her one way. Go on the path to the righteous, my friend. Forget not that the conduit has great plans for you.
All right.
He says he's an immaculate. But I thought they'd been banished after the death of the Source King.
Wolgraf hands Beardaughter a note. Sorcerers still abound, my forest friend. Here I stand, living
Proof of their wickedness. Citizen. So where the Englander go? Eglandaer. That's... Oh, that's the witch.
How gratifying to see you return. You are quickly becoming my favorite customer.
So she's got Anne,
The anvil of Grog, the torturer. All hail, Grog! All hail his hot-steeled instruments.
Also, she's got lockpicks and trap disarm toolkits. Those are very expensive, 140 a piece.
Soon the last will be beaten.
Lockpicks could be useful.
Like the anvil of Grog.
I'd also like to find out how those are made, though.
All hail, Grog!
So that I
all hail his hot-steeled instruments.
Don't have to buy them all the time. That's Eglandaer. Okay, let's go see him. Oh.
Ah, you have come. Yes.
I have.
That is most satisfactory. Begone, brittle mask of age. Hear me now repeat the words of Brittletooth, the child snatcher of Carador. Come, play with me, for I'm hungry. Come, play, play, play. The game, yes! A game of blood and brutality, of death and dexterity. Fun as herring the horror harlequin. But, like the serpentine stalker, this is before the stab.
Hush now. Darkness, darling. Hush. Hush. And listen to my tale. The elves of Gandavum, they lived in peace. Oh, yes. But one night, when the moon had hid her face, the orcs of the tribe of Kazuldagar beset our city. They cooked and ate and burned every last one of us. The light of dawn never saw an elf of Gandavum no more. All undone, every last one of us, except for me, the midnight rambler, away from the city. I was very old back then already, though indeed I whisper of many years hence. But death shall not find me. Oh no, not until every beast of Kazuldagar has been bled. I may be frail, a withered grey, but the wealth of kings is mine. Countless assassins have ministered to the vengeance that is my want, and now is almost over. By Kala, Lady of the Last Gaze, I swear it is almost done. Only the very last one of the Kazuldagar still eludes me. The crowning kill that would seal its fate and mine alike. I have tracked her down. By the curse of the spine spear I have. She does not know her ill-shapen sun is setting fast. Color the dusk red, O sword of youth. Bloody the day with the bramble sap that runs through the veins of Victoria. Bring me the amulet that clings to her flesh, soon to fade. And yours shall be the bounty of vindication. Mine shall be its sanguine satisfaction after long, long last.
Sanguine satisfaction. I don't want to kill Victoria. She seems nice.
Yes.
I hope I can warn her.
Victoria. She is the one whose heart must be held in hand.
Rather creepy, dude.
The heart around which the fingers of that hand must clench and tighten until its choking flesh bulges with blood and its beat slowly breaks. The orcs of Kazuldagar, they knew my name. Oh yes. By the bite of the roving rattler, they knew my design. And so they sought to save their last, an infant, she who was to be queen. To no avail, oh no. Years, how many I know not. Years I searched, and now she has been found. Her name is that of a woman, her employment that of a civilized being. But by the fork of Barbara Man-Eater, she is nothing but an orc, a cyst of nature, one of a misbegotten litter dragged into life from the tumoured womb of a filthy, coarse-haired beast that was humped like a dog in the darkness of a stinking hollow. Victoria, librarian, daughter, adopted child of Cecil, Mayor of Cecil. There is bloodlust in you. I can feel it. Let it out. Set it free. Undo the last of the Kazuldagar. By the breasts of Sishara Goatsucker, give me my revenge!
There's bloodlust in her, huh? Well, you're a fucking racist, and I'd like to kill you now.
My name is Eglandaer Twilsalana.
I'll certainly not do this quest. Okay, let's go outside and talk about this.
You there, cut it out. About time the council took notice of us.
That's just with him,
Are
right?
you here for the bone?
That was quite the radical change we witnessed.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that the benign old man we met outside would turn out to be a vengeance-driven aficionado of assassins.
And I know I like to play my characters to be like quite at odds with each other a lot of the time. But when it comes to this, there'll be an agreement. He's as much a savage as those orcs. I mean, those orcs aren't savages, just the ones that are. Charles Victoria guilty of a tribe's crime if he was but a babe at the time. He has been driven to madness by grief, I think, but I understand his urge to see every last one of the orc tribe bad. No, I don't.
He is as much a savage as those orcs. And how is Victoria guilty of her tribe's crime if she was but a babe at the time?
She may not be guilty, but she'd have committed the same crimes as she'd grown up among her own kind. What the fuck?
Indeed. Victoria probably doesn't even know about her past. And yet she's on a, let's call him, eccentrics hit list.
Forgiving.
Soon the last.
How's that forgiving? Vindictive. Receive a chance hit bonus of 20% on attack of opportunity. Yeah, that's
all hail Grog.
You're immune to curse.
All
Yeah, that's
hail
better.
his hot-steeled instruments.
Eglandaer revealed that he wants us to kill Victoria, who was part of the orc tribe that murdered his family. He wants us to bring her amulet as a proof of her death to add to his already impressive collection. Yeah, we can just talk to her and say, like, if you want this guy off your back, let's give him your
the
amulet.
last will be beaten. Beaten like the anvil of Grog, the torturer.
We go see Victoria right away. Where's she at?
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses.
That's the mayor Cecil's office, right? Yeah, we'll see her right away.
What? Oh, it's you! What news?
Should we tell him?
Someone wants to see Victoria dead? That cherub of the book? That seraph of the library? Outrageous! Hear you me. You must stop that dog by any means necessary. As mayor of Cecil, you have my permission to take drastic measures if need be.
There you go.
Kajdanor. Brief his tours Jageta, friend. Kira Lizor. Oh, do pardon my language, my friend. But that is quite the startling revelation. So much sadness, so much anguish. Eglandaer's tale is heartrending, though it seems that in the pursuit of retribution, he has himself become as great a ghoul as those that wronged him. Does he not see that I am now the one who is to be wronged? Why, oh why must he make me, of all gentle-minded and life-loving creatures, why must he make me the target of his imperishable hate? Whom have I ever harmed? I live for books, not brutality. So, let us approach the situation with reason and ask ourselves, where do we go from here? Though, first let me say this. Hashizm bil kushum zunum. From my heart, I thank you for warning me. I thank you and I trust you. So pray, let me pose the question. What do you advise we should do?
I could have him arrested.
This isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. Is there no new book to be discovered in this library?
I mean, if we give him the amulet, then he won't try to harm her anymore because he thinks she's dead.
The lesser key
unless he
of
finds out at a later date
Salacandras.
that she's actually still
What
alive.
nonsense.
If we
The
imprison him,
Pseudo-Monarchia
he
de
could potentially
Monum,
like break
and the
out
first edition too.
and then
Most
try and harm her
promising.
again. But I feel this is like the correct course of action. I mean, imprison him for what though? I mean, for basically
The
for setting
lesser
up her
key of
assassination, right?
Salacandras.
That's a
Ugh,
crime,
what
I suppose.
nonsense. The
Hiring
Pseudo-Monarchia
someone
de
to
Monum,
assassinate another person.
and the first edition too.
Could have him
Led
arrested.
Fizoda! Yes, a capital notion. Let him be brought before the law for his schemes. I am an innocent, and Eglandaer would see me dead. That is a grave offense, is it not? It would probably be better if you rather than I informed Captain Aureus, though. He bears little goodwill toward me ever since my more savage brethren have been marauding the beaches and killing his legionnaires. Yes? Have you decided what should be done about him?
Okay, I can still switch around.
Leg fizzled. It would probably be better if you...
I love her voice actress.
Ugh.
Generally, pretty good voice acting in this. Okay, let's go to Aureus. See what he says. And that'll be a good time to end this episode as well, I feel. I'm going for over an hour again already.
A good day to you.
Good day to you.
To the barracks! March! Recruits! That was sloppier than Cecil.
Mr. Head Honcho Legionnaire! The Source Hunter says that creep Robert stole my sheep.
Oh, that's where Bertia went.
And?
Well, aren't you going to arrest that stinking thief?
I'll have a talk with him, madam.
Well, he actually gave us money to give you as well, so... Okay, let's talk to Aureus.
Ah, the Source Hunter. Oh, joyous hour. Oh, if you must.
Arhu tells me he suspects a sect might be working around Cecil.
Yes, and he also spends most of his time in the guise of a cat, licking God's knows which body parts. Sects, sorcerers. He'll be seeing flying carpets next. Yes. Discovered. Well, have you found any incriminating? It was stolen. He has a lot to answer for, but not as much as the one that did the bribing in the first place. Guess your mission is pretty clear, isn't it? Off you go to find this Whom would you have the Legion arrest? The elf. What in the name of Arhu's arse should I arrest him for?
He wants us to kill Victoria.
It's true. He is a dangerous lunatic and needs to be incarcerated.
So, he wants you to kill that savage the mayor calls his daughter, does he? Hardly seems a crime to do so.
What?
But I guess I cannot allow assassinations to take place.
That's right.
I won't arrest him unless I have some actual evidence, though. Or did you think I'd simply take your word for fact?
That's how evidence works, yes. We haven't any proof except he told us. Like, all four of us heard it.
As I suspected.
Alright. Well then, I guess we'll have to find evidence. First of all, I'll have to take a short break though. See you in a couple of minutes.